Hi y'all, this is Mrs. D and I'm back with a video. Today we're going to be going over dividing fractions. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, when we divide fractions, it actually ends up being similar to multiplying fractions, but we have one thing we have to do before we actually multiply instead of dividing. So we're going to keep the first fraction the same. We're going to change the divide sign to multiply, and then we're going to flip the second fraction. So let's see what this looks like. So all we're going to do first is we're going to follow these instructions here. We're going to keep the first fraction, so that's my k. 5, 6 stays the same. We're going to change the divide sign to multiply, so that's a c. And then we're going to flip the second fraction, so that's an f. So this one is going to become 5 over 1. Whenever we say flip it, we're just doing the reciprocal. So let's try another one. So this one we're going to do k first, keep the first fraction the same. C means we're going to change our divide sign to multiply. And f, we're going to flip the second fraction. Now we're not going to solve this till step 2, but if you notice, we changed both problems to multiplying fractions. So let's move on to the second step. So for step 2, after we keep, change, flip, then we're going to follow the multiply rules. We're going to multiply numerators and then denominators and simplify. So let's see what this looks like. So here's the same problems from the first one. We have 5, 6, keep, change, flip, and then we're just going to multiply. Straight across the top, straight across the bottom. 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 1 is 6. Now we're in the situation where we have to change our improper fraction to a mixed number. So now we're going to divide. Top number always goes in the box. 6 goes into 25 4 times. That equals 24. So my remainder is 1/6. So my answer is 4 1/6. Let's go through the second problem. Keep, change, flip. That's all you have to do before you solve it. Now we're going to solve. 2 times 4 on the top is 8. 5 times 3 on the bottom is 15. I can't reduce 8 over 15, so that's my final answer. So let's talk about a couple of situations here where this might actually be different. One, if we have a mixed number in the problem, we have to change it to an improper fraction. Or if we have a whole number, we have to put it over 1 before we do keep, change, flip. So let's try out a couple of problems. So here we have 2 mixed numbers. So we're going to have to do around the world or popcorn in order to change both of these to an improper fraction. So let's go ahead with this first one. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8 over 3, and I'm going to write this kind of small. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over 2. Now that we've done popcorn, we're going to do keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep the first one the same, change the division to multiplication, and flip our second fraction. Now I just multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. So 8 times 2 is 16, 9 times 3 is 27, and nothing goes into both of these because 16 is an even number, 27 is not. Multiples here do not go into 16, so this is as far as we can go. Alright, so let's go ahead with our second example here. So now we don't have any mixed numbers, but we do have a whole number. So I have to put this 9 over 1 before I keep change flip. So I now have 2/5, keep it the same, times 9 over 1 is going to flip to 1 over 9. Now I can multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. 2 times 1 is 2, 5 times 9 is 45, and that's as small as it can get. So now that we kind of have the hang of this, let's go ahead and try some more practice problems. So for my first practice problem, it's just fractions. So let's first do keep, change, flip. And I'm going to write that up here just so we remember. Keep, change, flip. So the first fraction is going to stay the same. Keep it, change our divide to multiply, flip the second fraction. Let's go ahead and multiply now, straight across the top, straight across the bottom. 2 times 4 is 8, and 5 times 3 is 15, and that is as small as it gets. For our second problem, same thing. We still have just fractions, so I'm going to keep, change, flip. Now you notice that this first fraction, 3/2, is already an improper fraction, so we don't have to do anything to that before we do our keep, change, flip. If it was written as a mixed number, I would have had to change it first. Now we can just multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So 3 times 3 is 9, 2 times 2 is 4. Now I have to change this to a mixed number. So the top goes in the box, 4 goes into 9 2 times, which equals 8, and I have 1/4 left over. So 2 1/4 is my final answer. For my last example, now we have some mixed numbers here. So we're going to have to do popcorn first. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5 over 3. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7 over 3. Now I'm going to do keep, change, flip. Now if you notice here, both of my denominators are the same, and once I keep, change, flip, if you remember when we multiplied, you can cross reduce. You can still do that on these problems, you just can't cross reduce until you've done your keep, change, flip. So before we multiply, we can cross reduce. And so 3 and 3 are both divisible by 3. So now I have 5 over 1 times 1 over 7, which equals 5/7. If I would have multiplied here, I would have gotten 15 over 21, and then I would have had to divide both of those by 3 to equal 5/7. So it just saves us from having to reduce after we solve our problem. Another nice thing when you have fractions that you're dividing, once you do keep, change, flip, a lot of times your answer is already going to be in reduced form. And most of the time, or some of the time, your numerator is going to be smaller than your denominator, so you don't even have to do anything at the end. Let's go ahead and recap our steps here. So first, we're going to keep the first fraction, change the divide sign to multiply, and then flip the second fraction. So that's our keep, change, flip. So that's what we're going to refer to when we're talking about dividing fractions. Second, after you keep, change, flip, then follow your multiply rules. Multiply top times top, your numerators, then bottom times bottom, your denominators, and then simplify or reduce your answer. And third, if you have a mixed number or a whole number, you have to change it to an improper fraction or put your whole number over 1 before you do keep, change, flip. Otherwise, everything is still the same. So thanks for watching this video about dividing fractions. If you still need to watch it a couple more times and go through the practice problems, you can. Otherwise, if you have any questions, be sure to ask me something specific so that I know exactly what to help you with. So that's been dividing fractions. This is Mrs. D signing off. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you in the next video. Bye!